Look at how to identify the test script flows. Okay, why we called especially the flows are the business critical flows. Okay, so for the performance testing, normally we do not test for each and every application functionality for performance testing, because based on the load of the particular functionality, we go and do the performance testing for them only. Otherwise, if we do it for each and every functionality, it does not add any value to the performance testing. Let's say there is a X feature which is to be used most of the users in the production. So in that case, testing that particular feature will be helping us to determine any performance bottleneck. Otherwise, let's take another application. So in every application there may be something called application map, or there is a functionality which is not used by the users. So in that case, if there will be no load, or the load will be very less on that particular feature. So testing that particular feature for higher number of users will not add any value, because that particular feature will not be used by the users as much we expected. So identifying the right functionality is playing a key role in the performance testing. So let's look at various things that we do while we collect the business critical flows. So the very first thing is based on the feature criticality. Let's say there is a feature called paying the product. So whenever we select any product and adding it to the cart, and once we pay the item, so you see if you fail, if you get any errors, so whenever you're paying for that particular item, the amount will be deducted. And if the user sees, okay, there is a payment error on his page, so will be in trouble now. Let's say he may be assuming that he lost his money, but the product was not confirmed. So in that case, if it happen again and again for the different set of users, so there will be a lot of calls to the customer care. So that would be, that would be creating lot of impact on the business. So obviously it will result into business loss. And next thing is based on the feature usage in the production. Let's say there is a next feature. Let's take an example for Amazon.com. So there, the most frequently used feature in the Amazon.com searching for a product. So everyone will come with their own search key and they will search on the Amazon.com for their product. So this search feature is used by the many people worldwide. So testing that kind of the feature will be giving a good result. And if the user is not able to get the results quickly, then that would be result into again, okay, user maybe think, okay, this particular application is very slow, I don't want to buy anything on this site. So likewise, so based on the based on the feature usage, we can consider that as a one of the performance flow for the testing. Next thing is taking the advice. So sometimes taking the advice from the product owner or from the business will help us to gather the right business requirements, because business knows what happens and which particular feature will be used by the majority of the users, and what are the features that are upcoming. They will be understand Business will be understanding quite easily, so they can help us to derive the right business critical flows for the performance testing. And also in terms of the load, they will be helping us. So and next thing, once you gather all the business critical flows, or nothing but the application functionalities which are need to be covered for the performance testing, so you need to be documented in various documents. Some people document them in test approach. uh, Test approach tells about how your performance testing that you're going to be conducted, and some people document them into the test plan or test strategy document. So there are, as of now, I'm not going to cover about test strategy or test plan, any kind of documentation, but just I would like to say documenting will help us to keep track everything what we are going to cover. We have discussed the way how we collect so far, how to collect the business critical feature, but collecting them for various applications like brand new application, or it may be any existing application, or it may be a maintenance application. For a brand new application, you need to go and the scratch together to derive the business requirements or business flows. So for the brand new application, the time that we take to understand the application and the time that we take for identifying the business critical flows and the load, everything will be heavy. If you look at an existing application, so existing application may be already having some flows covered. So we need to identify which all rest of the part are yet to be covered, like there are any new features that are being added for the applications. Are these new features definitely needed for the performance testing or not, so that we can cross check with the business and we can add them for the performance testing. And maintenance applications, so these maintenance applications may not be having a drastic changes, or they may not be having a lot of changes that are to be needed for in scripts. And so that we need to identify which particular feature has got request changes, so we can cross check that from the functional testers or from the developers. So that particular part just we can replace in our test script and we can carry out the testing task. For a brand new application, so if we speak in terms of load, so we don't know how many users will be used by this application in the production. So there will be a better approach that normally we follow as a standard approach, like the step approach. It means we will be starting with a less number of load and we will start doubling the load. Let's say we started for the business critical flows with 100 users, and we simply multiply and see if the application is deviating in terms of SLA or in terms of server resources. So based on that, we increase the load into double and we'll see whether the application is stable or not. And for the existing application, so we will be getting most of the thing from the product owner or the business, so we don't need to worry about it. If we are not getting from the business, so we can do a benchmarking for them for the existing and maintenance application. And also sometimes apart from this, sometimes we can also depend on the application logs if the application is already in the production. So we can dive through those logs and we can get the which particular feature will be you which particular features are already being used in the production. So based on that, we can derive a right business critical flows and the respective load model. So in that case, most of the time, database administrator and application logs will be helpful. So these are the things that we have discussed to gather business requirement analysis and approach. Thank you.